Phil's gonna have something.
Yeah. Okay, it's 6 o'clock, so we will get the meeting started. So I'd like to call the meeting to order for April 9th, 2024. If you could please all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And I think we have John Burgess here this evening. Maybe not. Ooh. Okay, well, I guess that's me then. Okay, thank you, Lord, for this beautiful city that we have that we love to call home. We thank you for the beautiful sunshine. We thank you for all the rain and the beauty that you've brought to our city. We thank you for all of the wonderful citizens that we have and the wonderful schools where people are getting educated and winning their sports recognition things happening here, great things happening here. We thank you that we have such a wonderful community filled with seniors, kids, and people getting educated, people working here. And we just thank you and we praise you. Amen. Okay. Moving on, we have proclamations and presentations. Oh, roll call. Goodness. Roll call.
Councilmember Musgrove. Here. Councilmember Nunez.
Present.
Councilmember Sanella.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Jenkins.
Here.
And Mayor Jones.
Here. Okay, now we have proclamations and presentations. I'm so excited to recognize you all that I forget where I'm at in the agenda. So if you could, if the council could come forward, please. Okay, so we have the women's basketball team here today. So I'm going to have you all come up and then, or maybe I should just call you one by one. What do you think? Okay, you can come up and then I'll just call your name and then you could just pop over. You're gonna have to shake everyone's hand anyway. But I'd like to start out with our coach, Renee Jimenez. And is that your son? It's my twin son. Oh my gosh, they're so cute. They're really cute. They can come up with you too. We don't care if they run around. We've had a pony in here before, so yeah, we've had a real pony. Yeah. Anyway, so we're recognizing the women's basketball team because they really did something pretty extraordinary this year. So this is a certificate of recognition for their history-making. Yes, history-making performance during the 23-24 season. Their exceptional strategic prowess, innovative approaches, and unwavering mentorship, that's yours, have elevated the CSUSM Cougars women basketball team standing and brought immense pride and admiration to their school and, of course, the city of San Marcos. Congratulations on orchestrating a season of unparalleled success and glory. Your achievements will serve as a beacon of inspiration for generations of Cougar coaches to come. And I would love for you to talk a little bit about the season because it's pretty exciting. If you want to, are you going to stay with them? I think they should come up here.
They're
yes, okay. Well, anyway, so we have the assistant coach, who is Dario Frias, and then we have the volunteer assistant coach, Tina Samaniego. Samaniego. And you know, I literally told myself I wasn't going to do it, and it's when I put too much pressure on myself. Of course I will. Anyway, did you want to come up also? Yeah. Why don't you talk a little bit about the, so we have here, you're the director of all the sports, correct?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
The director of all the sports.
Hello, everyone. My name is Murad Shah. I'm the interim director of athletics at Cal State San Marcos. Obviously, we're an NCAA Division II institution just down the road here in San Marcos. I'm also an alum, so really proud to be a Cougar. Really excited and honored to be a part of this journey with these young ladies and this coaching staff. It's been really neat, to see the growth in the program when Renee first got here and now the team and where it's at now, and really put San Marcos, not only the institution but the city, on the map on a national level in Division II collegiate athletics. So really proud, and thank you very much for having us. Thank you, Mayor Jones.
We're happy you're here. So I have this for you. But you actually won an award too, didn't you? But didn't you get like some coach of the?
That was my assistant.
Your assistant. Okay. This is for Dario, and then Tina. That's yours.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay, now we're going to call you ladies up. Okay, Malia Mastora. And I think the cuties should come up too, but if you don't want them to. Thank you. Natalie Nicolosi. I think I told you the last time. It's my daughter's name. Charity Gallegos. Congratulations. Mm-hmm. Tatum Tamashiro. Congratulations. Mina Tumilo. Sorry, Mina Tulip. Oh gosh, there you go. Thank you, Mia. Alina Tran. Congratulations, you're very welcome. Go. Deanna Buckner. Okay. Oh, she's missed all the fun. Oh, okay. Well, we definitely want her to keep her grades up. Ava Ranson. Congratulations. Thank you. You're welcome. Katie Fitzgerald. Congratulations. See, I'm taller this time. I was the shortest one last week. I was wearing tennis shoes. Maddie Leva. Is it Leva? Leva. Congratulations. Jade Ramirez. Oh, she's got class 2. Caitlin Beal. Congratulations. Truett Riley. Congratulations. Thank you. You're very welcome. Camille Johnson. Oh, class. Jordan Vasquez. Congratulations. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Rose Morse. Okay, so congratulations. Okay, we're gonna scooch in, and we want that to be in the background, I think, right, Phil? We're the short ones, so I'm gonna give these to you. I don't know. I think the lighting is better. Let's go half. We're in the front. All right, let's scooch in.
Probably need 2 rows, so don't come, big couple rows.
Can I get some of
Yeah, scoot in a little bit closer. If there's any parents, you can get up and come down. Yeah, you need to come closer. Sorry.
We're gonna have to get.
Yeah. And he ends right here and like right over here, yeah. You folks come over here, squeeze in, couple rows. Come on.
Let me know.
Otherwise, just gonna roll.
We're new at this.
All right, that works. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Keep smiling, because I know there's a lot of pictures going on. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Hey, congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us. We make it better.
So, and I mentioned this the other day too. So it's a pretty young team. A lot of them are actually coming back. So next year we hope to see you back. And they got to the Final Four. I don't know if I mentioned that. The Final Four. It was really exciting. Anyway, thanks for coming. Okay, moving on to the consent calendar. Do we have any items that any council members wish to pull? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any noes? Seeing none, moving on to oral communications. So we do have some. Okay. Okay. Okay, so the first speaker is going to be Rosalind Cantu on behalf of Lynn Sulu Pastrana. And the second will be Flower Alvarez Lopez, followed by Angelica Santiago. Oh, I'm sorry. My apologies. Sorry. Nope. Rosalind, you're not yet. Flower Alvarez Lopez, followed by Angelica Santiago, and then Irma Raimundo. Flower, oh, sorry.
Hello, good evening. Good evening, Mayor, council members, and staff. My name is Flower Alvarez Lopez, and I am the co-director of Universidad Popular, located here in North County, San Diego, and our offices are here in San Marcos. I am a San Marcos native, been raised here and here most of my life. Our organization has been helping with some of the Villa Serena residents that are in phase 2. I'm here really to register my support for the residents that are still struggling to find relocation. We continue as an organization to support and help the residents that are struggling to find relocation. We continue to meet with them and hear out their concerns and their frustrations that they have expressed. I do have a question that, and I'm aware that you all are not allowed to respond, but just to put it on your radar, our organization has a question about why this item has not been agendized. We have been coming week after week for months now, and would really like to have meaningful dialogue as a city about the residents not being able to be relocated thus far. From what I understand from meeting with them last night is that most of them have received their 30-day notice already, and there's still quite a few families that are struggling to find alternative housing. Thank you so much for continuing to hear us out. We will continue to show up as long as the residents need support with relocation. I think that's all my comments for today, and I'll pass it on to whoever's next. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next is Angelica Santiago, followed by Irma Raimundo. And for our first 15 minutes, so how the agenda works is during oral communications, because we do have other items on the agenda this evening, that we will have 15 minutes for the first speakers. So, Mr. Skollick, are you keeping track of that for us? Thanks. Hi.
Hello, buenas tardes, good afternoon, esteemed mayor and council members and staff. My name is Angelica Santiago, and as well, I'm with Universidad Popular, and I definitely want to echo what Flower mentioned. Very similar to what I wanted to state. So May 1st is fast approaching, is literally around the corner, and I can imagine, I don't know if you can all imagine the stress, the frustration, you know, that our residents, our families, our youth, even like the National Core staff and us are feeling, right? So this is definitely a learning process that we need to learn for future relocation projects. You know, and echoing what Flower mentioned, we have been here, and I think you all have maybe remembered my face for the last 3 months, listening to our residents, and thank you for that. We really appreciate you all providing that ear, right? It's truly important. but definitely some questions that I have been having in mind. So one of those questions is, why has this item not been part of the agenda? And we've been here 3 months, and I know we've been asking and requesting, having this dialogue, what can we do to support each other? And, why are folks still pending? Like, it's literally a couple of days, and folks are still, they don't know what are the next steps are, right? They're in limbo, and I don't think that's good. Also, this Monday, there is a meeting with National Court, April 15th, and my question is if any of you will be attending that meeting. I know I will be attending that meeting. And just stating that this process, we really need to learn of it to see what we can change and modify, because this is not something that should be happening. And I know future projects are on the way, so we have to make sure this, is not repeated. Thank you.
Thank you. Next will be Irma Raimundo, followed by Maria Mendoza. And then I will be pretty close to 15 minutes.
Buenas tardes a todos.
Good afternoon.
Primeramente, darle gracias a cada uno de ustedes
First of all, I want to express my thankfulness to all of you
por permitirnos hablar o escucharnos cada vez que hemos estado aquí.
for allowing us to be present here and also to be heard.
Y pues en la misma situación de las Villas Serenas seguimos esperando.
We have continued to be in the same situation and a waiting line with Villa Serena
A ver si nos encuentran un lugar para reubicarnos.
to see if we will find a place to relocate.
Ya para el 1 de mayo ya tenemos que dejar la unidad.
We have to leave the units on May the 1st.
Y pues solamente nomás quería darle las gracias y voy a esperar en estos días a ver si me resuelven algo o me mandan un hotel.
And first and foremost, I would like to thank you and see if in the coming days I am going to be sent to a hotel.
Muchísimas gracias por escucharnos.
Thank you so
Es
very
todo.
much for listening to me, and thank you. That's it.
Thank you. Next is Maria Mendoza.
Sí. Buenas tardes, alcalde,
Good afternoon, Mayor,
concejales y personal.
board meeting, and personnel.
Mi nombre es María Mendoza y soy residente de Villa Serena.
My name is Maria Mendoza, and I am a resident of Villa Serena.
He venido aquí para llamar su atención
I have come here to call your attention
sobre el proceso de reubicación,
in the process of relocation,
que aún somos muchas familias sin hogar.
because we're still quite a bit of amount of families without a home.
Solo nos quedan 21 días para desocupar el departamento y no tenemos.
We have 21 days left, and we, to this day, have nothing.
Muchísimas gracias por toda la atención que han puesto en estos 3 meses que hemos venido a pedir su ayuda.
Thank you so very much for this 3 months of trying to help us.
Y solamente decirles que es una injusticia que por hacer una nueva unidad para ayudar a más gente tengan que sacrificar a otros.
And that I feel that it's unfair and unjust that many families are treated the way they are when, so many people were there already living.
Es todo, gracias.
And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we have time for one more speaker. Antonia Montoya. You can pull that, the microphone down a little bit. She's petite like me.
Buenas noches a todo el grupo de aquí con usted, concejal.
Good evening to all the group here present today.
Pues me da pena que todavía estamos en esta situación y estamos aquí pidiendo lo mismo, la misma relocación para todos los de Villa Serena.
I'm so sorry to show up again over and over to ask for the same thing for the people in Villa Serena.
Y pues yo quiero pues que tengamos pues una solución en este problema, porque no soy nomás yo, sino habemos muchas más personas.
I am hopeful that we have a solution to this problem soon, because it's not only me, we have a lot of people involved in this.
Lo que es en mi persona, Chris no me ha dado ninguna llamada para decirme si tiene algo para mí.
Chris, to this day, has not given me one call to let me know if there's anything available for me.
Y yo quiero pues que ustedes tomen esa en su corazón, ¿verdad? De lo que estamos pasando nosotros.
Please take that note in account in your heart of the things that we're going through.
Y que pues para más adelante no vaya a suceder lo mismo que ahorita estamos pasando todos los residentes de Villa Serena.
And that this doesn't happen again to like all the residents in Villa Serena.
Y a mí me gustaría que usted estuviera presente para el día 15 que vamos a tener la reunión allí.
I would really like for you to be there on the 15th when we meet together again.
Yo sé que es mucho pedir, pero pienso que como personas que son preparadas, a lo mejor sí nos pueden apoyar ahí.
I think that I'm asking for a lot, but as educated people that you are, I think you have a pretty good stand there with us.
Porque yo lo que he pedido siempre que he venido, que nos den un papel por si ellos van a ser responsables si nos mandan a un hotel.
Because to this day, I'm requesting the same thing, that we have something in written form telling us that they're going to put us in a hotel.
Porque tenemos miedo que nos vayan a dejar nomás allí en el hotel y no nos pueden resolver nada.
Because we're afraid that we're going to be left in the hotel and then have no solution.
Así que eso es lo que yo vengo a pedir por todos los residentes ahí, porque pues estamos todos en la misma situación.
So this is what I am inquiring for today for all the residents there, because we're all in the same situation.
Así que se los agradezco mucho por su atención que han tenido con nosotros y nos han permitido expresar lo que nosotros sentimos.
I'm grateful for your assistance and also to allow us to, talk to you about what's going on with our situation.
Así que muchas gracias
So
a
thank
todo
you
el
so
grupo.
very much.
Thank you, Antonio. Okay, the rest of the remainder of the speakers will speak at our second oral communications period. We will be moving on to our business, which is our public hearing number 9. Oh, magically. Resolution number 2024-9278, declaring the public interest and necessity to acquire property by eminent domain for the implementation of the University District Specific Plan, North City Drive and Street A right-of-way and related public improvements project for certain real property addressed as 0 Shubin Lane, APN 221-100-0900. And I think we have a staff presentation on this.
We do. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you for your time tonight to consider this item. The city approved the University District Specific Plan and intends to implement the public improvements that the plan requires. In the western portion of the specific plan, these improvements include North City Drive from Discovery Street to Twin Oaks Valley Road and Street A from Discovery Street to North City Drive. A roundabout is proposed at the intersection of North City Drive and Street A. The property at 0 Shubin Lane is located within the specific plan area and is shown in the red box there. Its sole access is via the Shubin Lane easement that connects to Twin Oaks Valley Road. You can see that red rectangle extending towards Twin Oaks Valley Road, and that provides the sole access to the property. The property is owned by the AC1 and AC2 land trusts dated March 14th, 2021. It's about 1 acre in size, and as you can see in the graphic, it is vacant, it's unimproved in its current state, but surrounding the area is all of the rough grading going on for the University District as per the approved specific plan. The specific plan requires a street network that includes North City Drive and Street A. Key points of connection are shown in this graphic with the teal-colored arrows. North City Drive must extend easterly to connect to the segment of the street that is east of Twin Oaks Valley Road. And Street A must connect to Discovery Street and align with Campus Marketplace, shown there on the south portion of the slide. Street A cannot shift further west because of the steep topography of the planned park, shown there in green, Knoll Park. It also must connect to North City Drive with sufficient clearance from Twin Oaks Valley Road for the proposed roundabout. Although the planned street locations may shift slightly, all alternatives identified by staff continue to impact the property and will ultimately render the site inaccessible. This is because the sole property access, again, is via that dirt road, Shubin Lane. Shubin Lane's connection to Twin Oaks Valley Road will be severed by the construction of North City Drive. You can see how the access actually overlaps North City Drive right west of Twin Oaks Valley Road. And Shubin Lane's connection to the property will be severed by the pedestrian paseo that will extend diagonally from the roundabout towards Twin Oaks Valley Road. Any new driveway to access the property would not be able to meet design standards because of its proximity to the roundabout. Therefore, staff's recommendation is that the entire property be acquired for the construction of the public improvements project. The specific plan public improvements cannot be fully constructed without acquisition of this property. Efforts to negotiate acquisition have so far been unsuccessful, which has brought us to the public hearing tonight and your consideration of a resolution of necessity. If the resolution is not adopted, North City Drive would terminate at a cul-de-sac and would not connect to Twin Oaks Valley Road. Improvements in the vicinity of Ultimate Street A would be limited to only a fire lane. If City Council determines to proceed with the property acquisition, it must make the findings that are presented on this slide and which we'll discuss in detail as we continue. The first finding is that the public interest and necessity require the project. Here, the property is essential to achieve the city's planned transportation network. The specific plan depicts a variety of improvements on the property, and though it has been amended several times since 2009, each iteration has necessitated public improvements on this site. The public good and interest necessitate that the street, drainage, utility, and pedestrian infrastructure be constructed as proposed in the specific plan. Next, Council must find that the project has been designed in a way that provides the greatest amount of public good and the least amount of private injury. Staff has studied potential alternatives in detail and provided the analysis as an attachment to your agenda packet tonight. In summary, staff found that although the street alignments may slightly shift, ultimately, North City Drive must align with the existing segment west of Twin Oaks Valley Road, and on its west end, it must connect to the stub out of North City Drive from Discovery Street. Again, Street A must connect to Discovery Street at the entry into the campus marketplace. It must avoid impacting Knoll Park to the west, and it needs to connect with North City Drive with a roundabout. Sufficient clearance from Twin Oaks Valley Road to that roundabout must be maintained. Each iteration of the specific plan has necessitated public improvements on the site, and the general configuration that is shown here remains consistent with the 2014 iteration. These improvements and alternatives have been contemplated, and staff recommends that the proposed acquisition be found compatible with the greatest public good and the least private injury. Construction of the specific plan public improvements will utilize the vast majority of the property for right-of-way. And as we've discussed, it will render the remaining portions of the property inaccessible. Access cannot be maintained to Shubin Lane, which is shown in orange on this graphic, because its connection to the property will be severed on the west end by North City Drive and on the east end by a paseo. Staff evaluated whether a new driveway could be accommodated and found that it could not meet design standards. Staff's recommendation is to acquire fee simple interest in the entire property, including the Shubin Lane access easement. Although the property owner has advised that a lease arrangement would be preferable, a lease will unfortunately not meet the city's needs for the construction of public improvements. The acquisition of the property to construct the proposed improvements is in conformity with both the specific plan and with the city's general plan. Government Code 7267.2 requires that the city establish the just compensation amount for the acquisition and offer that amount to the property owner before a resolution of necessity is adopted and an eminent domain action is filed. The city complied with the requirements of the Government Code by obtaining an independent appraisal of the property and making a written offer to the owner in that amount. The city has not been able to engage the property owner to negotiate the purchase price. Eminent domain law allows the city to pursue a court order for prejudgment possession of the property. In that case, the city must demonstrate an urgent need for prejudgment possession that is overriding to the property owner's needs. In this case, the entire property is vacant and unimproved. The city has an urgent need for the site to allow grading and road construction to continue and to avoid additional construction costs. In summary, the findings on the right are appropriate matters to be discussed at tonight's hearing. This hearing is not meant to set the purchase price for the property. The amount of compensation to be paid for the acquisition of the property interest is not a matter being heard by council at this time and not to be considered at this hearing. The hearing is only to discuss the findings as proposed in the resolution. If City Council determines to proceed with the resolution of necessity, the ultimate purchase cost will be funded by a private developer. The developer has posted money with the city for acquisition costs. Discussion with the property owner to negotiate the purchase price can continue after a resolution of necessity is adopted and after a court considers the city's request for immediate possession. The ultimate fiscal impact to the developer will be known once the purchase price is determined. In compliance with CEQA, the City Council previously adopted and certified the programmatic Final Environmental Impact Report and 2022 Addendum for the University District Specific Plan. The property owner has been notified of these proceedings and has submitted to the City Clerk a request to speak tonight. In next steps, City Council may consider the adoption of a resolution of necessity. The provided resolution would authorize the city attorney to proceed with condemnation proceedings, to acquire the subject property in its entirety in fee simple interest, absolute, and to apply for an order to take prejudgment possession. Staff recommends that City Council conduct the public hearing and adopt Resolution 2024-9278. City's outside counsel, Scott Noya, is available to assist in responding to any questions that the City Council may have. And that concludes staff's presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have any questions of staff? No? Do you have any questions for our special counsel?
I do have a procedural question. Since we were informed that that the owner of the property is here, will they be presenting?
Yeah, I have a speaker slip coming up next.
Okay.
Yeah.
But is that, my question is that different? Are they allotted different time, different procedure than, or normal public speaking time?
Well, it's like a presentation, so I would say at our discretion that we would be allowing them the time that they need to make their presentation. Okay, moving on. Rosalind Cantu on behalf of Lynn Sulu Pastrana.
Good evening, council members. My name is Rosalind Cantu, and I'm speaking on behalf of my family member, Lynn Sulu Pastrana. She is the owner of Shubin Lane property and has made a career of real estate investment and development. She understands real estate finances and market values well. First, we would like to note that we were given the City Council's resolution of necessity documents, almost 200 pages worth, less than 2 days before the meeting. Hopefully this is not intentionally trying to limit our time to react. Sue's wish is to develop on this land on Shubin Lane, and she has been waiting for a long time, since 27 years ago. She has made multiple real estate investments in San Marcos and has been watching the city grow. She does not want to sell, but wanted to establish roots in the city. She is willing to lease the land now that it has taken half of her lifetime to reach this level. Sue has asked and been reassured by the city of San Marcos multiple times from 20 years ago to 6 years ago that the city does not take sides and will only use eminent domain for a public road network. Sue has been pursued by land developers to sell for more than 20 years. Seabreeze has been the primary land developer pursuing her, where most times it included the threat of eminent domain. In some years, it got so aggressive that it caused Sue so much mental stress and then physical illness as a result of the harassing threats. Sue is extremely weary of the parties being involved and trying to acquire the land. One, she sees the familiar tactics of planning roads through properties in order to coerce a sale, even with city involvement. She has been keeping track of these coercive tactics in the area for many years. With all the land now owned by the land developer, why must the road go through her land if not for a way to force her to sell or for the city to use eminent domain to acquire it? Two, she sees the biased way of evaluating market value in the city's recent offer. It is designed to minimize her land value and maximize land developer profit. For example, the offer letter's fair market value analysis omits the sales figure of the nearby lot bought by the city for 17% higher at half the land size 3 years ago. That excluded parcel is located at 130 South Twin Oaks Valley with a size of a half acre, sold for $2,340,900 on February 17th, 2021. This land was sold immediately to the land developer after the city acquired it. Now, at 3 years later, it has an estimated fair market value of $3,200,000, a 37% growth. And third, as much as this is a business and businesses want to make profit, she cannot help but feel that the city is taking sides and driving the profit towards the large land developers by taking it away from small landowners. In conclusion, Sue asks that the use of eminent domain to acquire her land be limited to only the land used for actual public road use, which she learned is what City Council is authorized to do. She does not want to be forced to sell the entire parcel. She is wary that after forced acquisition, plans could keep changing and little to no road may actually be built on the land. This could all happen after the property has been sold to the land developer. And she asked for some way to guarantee that she is not being cheated through legal use of eminent domain. Thank you.
Do we have a response from our attorney or not you, Mrs. Peak, our special outside counsel?
I'm sure Scott Noyo would be available to answer any of the questions that you might have.
Okay.
To respond to generalizations.
Yeah.
Is that what you would like?
No, I'm just wondering if there was anything specific that should be responded to in that, all of that. Any questions of the council? Yes, Mr. Musgrove.
So interesting in the presentation from staff, it was discussed that the entirety of the property would be the most equitable acquisition, although not entirely necessary for the design. Did I understand that correctly? So that the offer is simply to acquire the entirety of the property? Were there infrastructure concerns that necessitate the full acquisition?
There are both infrastructure and practical concerns that necessitate the full acquisition. In staff's analysis, we considered the possibility that there could be one or more remnant parcels remaining after public improvements were constructed. And we found that these remnants would be largely occupied by the slopes that are necessary to transition from the public improvements to the private property grades. And also that such remnants would have no feasible means of access that can comply with engineering standards. So they would be small remnants with slopes and without legal access to reach the property.
So there would be no extension from the current Shubin Lane or extension, it would simply be an island in the middle of the public domain?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry, do we have any questions of the property owners? Because if not, I don't want her to have to remain standing. Okay, you can go ahead and be seated. Sorry, I want to make sure we didn't have any questions for you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other further questions?
Do we have any other public speakers on this item?
I didn't see any. Do we? I didn't. No, I don't believe so.
I have a couple questions.
Okay.
I don't know if this is for Helen or Scott. I just want to confirm, I'm not finding it easily, but I believe this property is about an acre. Is that correct?
Yeah, Scott, what, do
Approximately
you
an
mind?
acre.
Sorry, do you mind coming up, Scott? Do I have
I'm
one?
Scott Noya, outside counsel to the city. Yes, the property is approximately an acre.
Okay. And in reading the letter to the owner, I think it was dated in September.
The offer letter?
Yes.
Yes.
We offer to pay $5,000 to the landowner if they want to do their own appraisal. Is that correct?
That's correct. It's a requirement of the law when you make an offer to acquire property with the intent that if you can't acquire it, that you would exercise your power of eminent domain. The city is required to also offer, pursuant to a related code section, to pay up to $5,000 in reasonable appraisal costs for the owner to get an appraisal.
Right. And did they?
The owner did not respond to the offer letter or
Okay.
engage in negotiations, nor did the owner request the city to, pay for an appraiser that she was hiring.
Okay. That's all my questions. Thanks.
Sure.
Thank you. Maria, did you have a question?
I do have a couple of follow-up questions for clarification in terms of what we're doing today. I believe we're not looking at appraisals, we're not looking at value of the property today.
That's correct. The code section that we're dealing with is about the findings that are required by the resolution. One of the findings you need to make is that we did comply with Government Code 7267.2, which requires us to get the appraisal, make an offer in the appraised amount, and attempt to negotiate if we can. And so that is a finding that needs to be made, but it is correct that the point of tonight's hearing is not to determine or debate the value of the property or how much the owner should get. That is what the negotiations are for, and if we cannot negotiate or are unsuccessful in doing so, then in the court proceeding, the owner has the ability, just as the city will, to put on any evidence that's admissible about value of the property, and if we can't agree upon it, and we would continue negotiating throughout that process, but if it can't be reached an agreement, then the parties have a right to have a jury determine what's called just compensation under the Constitution.
If I understood correctly, because there was a comment by the owner that she was given 72 hours of notice of today's hearing, did she have 72 hours of notice of the appraisal that we did, or can you Can you explain that?
The appraisal and the offer, the appraisal took place prior to the offer. The offer was made in September. After a period of time of trying to negotiate, or at least get a meeting with the owner to discuss the acquisition, last month the owner was sent notice of this hearing. So she's had more than 20, 25 days notice of this hearing. I believe the comment about the resolution was that they just received it a couple of days ago. Of course, it was published Friday and available publicly then. And I believe what happened was that the owner or the owner's family member wrote to a city staff person and asked for the resolution, which of course is available publicly on the website. And then city staff member did provide by email, I believe, a link to the resolution and the related documents, the staff report, et cetera.
And that's what wasn't clear to me in terms of what documents the owner would have been provided prior to the publication of our agenda for today.
The owner would have access to the available agenda and the related documents when they were made publicly available, but everything else that we just talked about, the offer letter, the notice of this hearing, all that took place long before.
Thank you for that clarification.
Certainly.
Yes, Deputy Mayor, did you have one last?
I have, yes. And did they receive a copy of the appraisal?
Yes, in the offer letter, we're required to provide a summary of the basis for the appraiser's determination of value. And so that includes the highest and best use determination, the sales that the appraiser looked at to determine what's comparable and to arrive at his or her conclusion of value. So all of the required elements of that, which are spelled out in the code, were followed, and those were included with the appraisal document, included with the offer letter. So the offer letter includes an offer, a statement of the appraisal. It includes some other related information about the acquisition process, that sort of thing. But what you're asking for is, were they provided some basis for the appraisal and some of the sales and that sort of thing? Yes, that's
Okay.
included.
And I know this discussion has been going on long before September. How long have you been engaged in this, and have, I guess what I'm trying to figure out is, have we had any response from the landowner prior to this letter received on, I think it was the 4th or something?
Yes, so I have been engaged in this prior to the appraisal taking place. And then my understanding is, and I prepared the offer letter for city to send. My understanding is that after the offer letter went out, the city did try to engage the property owner. Ms. Pastrana did send a letter to the city offering or to discuss a ground lease of the property, but the city, and then asked for the city to provide a written response to that offer. And the city did provide a written response explaining that a ground lease is not a suitable substitute for acquiring property where public improvements are going to be constructed.
Okay. And just to confirm, I think it was stated, but there is no permanent, I don't see any permanent structure on that hill, on that 1 acre, but I don't know that I can see all of it. Is there any?
Are you talking about currently, Deputy Mayor? There's no, yes, there's no, the property is vacant property,
The property is vacant property, and so just to add to that discussion, part of the issue about needing urgent need for possession of the property, it's a court motion that we need to make, and we need to demonstrate the city's needs to acquire pre-judgment possession so we can begin the process of doing the construction. The owner will have an opportunity to oppose that motion in court and attempt to try to show the court that the owner has a greater need to retain possession of the property and wait till a trial or some other later date. But in this case, the property is vacant, so we're not dispossessing someone from their home or anything like that.
Right, okay, thank you.
Certainly.
Yes, Councilmember.
Just real quickly, can you give me the status on Shubin Lane? Then the legacy Shubin Lane that will now be the continuation of North City, assuming there was a right of easement for this property?
Yes, there's an easement, and what we're discussing about acquiring is also the easement rights involved in this property.
So they have a right of easement to the access to Shubin Lane, but this would then preclude any access from their property all the way out to Twin Oaks?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
It's basically landlocked. So I just want to, and if I say something that's not correct, please are factually correct. So we had the appraisal done, and we sent out the information on the offer, the acquisition process. I mean, it's a very clear process, being that we are a public agency. We followed all the steps on that. And then the property owner was given the date last month. Last month, is that correct?
Yes.
This date, the date of today,
Correct.
last month.
I
Okay.
believe that is in your packet.
I thought I read it somewhere, but I honestly.
Yes, the notice of hearing on this, for this resolution and necessity hearing was sent by certified mail to the owner on March 22.
Okay, okay. And then we will continue to negotiate all the way up until even on the court steps, I believe, correct?
That is the appropriate way to do these things unless there's some indication that there's just unwillingness to negotiate. But obviously, adopting the resolution tonight will not foreclose continued negotiations, and even filing the action to begin the process and ask the court for the order for prejudgment possession. That none of that cuts off negotiations. We're always interested in trying to resolve the acquisition, short of litigation or short of full-blown, going to trial.
Right. Well, I've been on the city council since January of 2007, and we've never actually had to use eminent domain. We've always come to an agreement with the property owner. So this is not something that I take lightly, and I don't believe any of the council members do. So thank you for your clarification on those points. I would make a motion, unless there's any other questions of staff or legal counsel, I would make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Okay, no one has any other questions? Okay. Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any noes? No? Okay, so the findings. We have the public interest and necessity, the project compatible with the greatest public good and least private injury, the interest in property sought to be acquired is necessary for the project, the acquisition in conformity with the general plan, which was approved in 2012. The specific plan was 2009. It's in compliance with Government Code 7267.2, which is the appraisal, the offer, and the attempt to negotiate, and then the urgent and overriding need for possession of the property. Do we have any further discussion from the council on any of these points? Seeing none, do we have a motion?
Mayor, I would move that we have met the conditions of the summary of findings and move to adopt a resolution of necessity under 2024-9278.
Okay, we have a motion?
I'll second.
And a second. Okay, motion and a second. All in favor? Oh.
Aye.
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 Any noes? Okay. All right. Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to the oral communications. We have several speakers on this item, or in this period. So we will start with Valila Flores, followed by Marlene Walder, followed by Francisco Pina.
Hi, my name is Valila Flores. I'm here also with the Villa Serena Apartments. I'm one of the families that have not been helped with relocation. I'm stuck with 4 kids not knowing where to go. So it's pretty difficult, especially because, there is elderly residents as well. And a lot of residents have families as well. So I'm just here just to support, the the residents and myself. And hopefully we can come up with a resolution and not have us go to a hotel. And then, not have to have our kids relocate schools and, find new friends and start all over, basically. So I'm just here to ask for you guys to hear us and work with us and find, an apartment or apartments for all the residents that still don't have a place to live. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next up is Marlene Walder, followed by Francisco Pena.
You all have the paper, I hope. Mayor, council members, Marlene Walder, San Marcos Mobile Estates, Space 11. I'm here on behalf of many of the residents. They've asked me to speak on their behalf, and they are afraid to give their names or compliance. I'm going to read G1 from the ordinance. I don't have my regular glasses now. From Bill 1304, which allows mobile homes parks to pass through a charge. Well, it's been on the books for a long time, maybe not. I have no idea. They sent me what I'm to read. And it says, for marinas, mobile home parks, recreational vehicle parks, and apartment complexes where the owner of, and it's the places I just named, owns and is responsible for the utility meters, the device fee shall not exceed the following. For the water submeters, $6 device per space or apartments. Electric submeters, $3. And I'm cutting out some of the stuff. And vapor submeters, $10. I'm not sure if vapor means gas. The problem is they put it on this month's bill, and there was no pre-warning, and an awful lot of the residents have complained because they don't have those extra dollars, and they weren't prepared on their rent bill, and they weren't willing to accept the rent bill unless it was paid in full. And so this is something we have not paid in the past maybe 10 years. A long time ago, we did have a $2 service charge for the reader meters, and that lasted for maybe a year or something like that, 2-3 years, because it was found that they couldn't charge us for that. When I wasn't living here back in the late 90s and my house was vacant, they charged me a service charge for each meter because I wasn't using anything. They're supposed to be maintaining the meters. They've had a wood block under my gas meter for the last 25 years, and all of a sudden someone came and they knocked the wood block out and they put an actual brace in, and I don't know who put the brace in, if it was the gas company or if it was them, but up until now, nothing had been done. The meter, my water meter, had never been checked or looked at, and they had electrolysis, and I couldn't get water through even the hole. It was so small, it was smaller than a dime, and I had no water pressure at all, and I had to call plumbers, and I had to do a leak detection at my cost. And that was $300 for leak detection and $400 for the plumber. And the plumber said, your meter is ready to start leaking because it's so badly corroded. And our rent is coming up, and we're still trying to negotiate. We have no apartment manager, and the pool is still not working. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Marlene. Next is Francisco Pina, followed by Christopher Allen, and then after Christopher, it'll be George. Oh, I can't read
Good
that.
evening, Mayor, council members.
Veramontes.
My name is Francisco Peña. I've been a North County resident for the past 40 years. Why are we allowing our city coffers to be stolen from? Taxes build bridges, roads, schools. Taxes pay for public safety. Taxes protect our county and this here community. Why are so many construction contractors committing tax fraud? They do it to steal jobs from tax-paying businesses and employees. Corrupt criminal contractors pay cash under the table that allows them to evade state, federal, and local taxes. And all of this is intentional. Don't think it isn't. And it is not a small bill. We are talking about $8.4 billion a year. That is billion, $8.4 billion a year. No job site is immune. No state is immune. No city is immune. These are real losses. When contractors cheat on taxes, we pay more. Me, you, and everyone else in here pay more taxes. Put a stop to this in the city of San Marcos and stand up against tax fraud. Thank you.
Okay, Christopher Allen, followed by George Veramontes.
Good evening, Christopher Allen, Western States Regional Council of Carpenters. Last year, I was here in front of this board talking about cheating contractors, talked about criminal contractors. I gave you a project right across the street that was built by Lennar Home, who uses criminal contractors that cheat their workers, steal their money, and not pay their state, local, and federal taxes. Rebecca, the last Sandag meeting, you fought very hard to get more Sandag projects in San Marcos. It'd be a lot easier if this board came together and made sure that these criminal contractors are paying the right taxes and paying the working class right. As a working class member and many people in this stand, we know there's some guarantees in life. Number one, it's taxes. I want to make sure that this city council knows that if I'm paying my taxes, I want every single criminal contractor to be paying their taxes. That way I don't have to cover them and carry them through this town. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is George Veramontes, followed by Javier Santizo, then Jesse Garcia.
Good afternoon, Mayor, council members. How are you? Jorge Viramontes, Western States Regional Council of Carpenters, North County resident. I want to touch a bit on wage theft. My two partners, they've broken what it's going to be about. Construction work is strenuous, dangerous, and takes skill. Everyone should get paid for the work they perform. Are we all with that? Correct? You're going to perform that work, get paid for it. Get the correct pay for it. Construction workers are victims of wage theft, no matter their immigration status. Wage theft is accompanied by tax and insurance fraud, and it's intentional. My job has allowed me to sit down with these workers that get exploited every day. You council members want to see somebody humbling, something that will humble you, something, why this is so important, why we're here today. Sit down with these families and listen to their story. These criminal contractors come in, I'm sitting there with them and their families, and they're saying, hey, we don't have enough to pay the bills. We don't have enough to have food for the baby. You think it's not real? It is real, because I speak to them on a daily basis. So we're asking, what's the city of San Marcos going to do to stop this tax fraud, these criminal contractors coming into our North County to build? Let's hold them accountable. So you're probably thinking, this is a union thing. It's not about union. It's not about non-union. What it's about being human. Let's do the right thing.
Thank you. Javier, followed by Jesse Garcia, and then Devin, oh, geez. Sorry, I can't read your writing. Gadella, sorry.
Good evening, councilmen and women. My name is Javier Santizo. I'm a representative with the Western States Regional Council of Carpenters. And today, you've heard we're talking about tax fraud, standing up to tax fraud. February 1st of 2024, Attorney General Rob Bonta filed a lawsuit that is worth $17 million. Wages owed to workers that perform work for none other than yours truly here in the city of San Marcos, Lennar Homes, Shea Homes, KB Homes. All these local workers build this community. But what is the people that have been voted in to protect the constituents of the city doing to protect the local workforce? It doesn't only stay at local workforce. Let's talk about our first responders that are in the back. We don't have the proper funds coming in when developers cheat the tax system. All right, we're having conversations here in regards to National Court, Villa Serena, affordable housing. These developers get a break, a tax break. These constituents can't even catch a break. What are we doing? Do you guys have what it takes to stand up to tax fraud? National Court, their preferred contractor is Performance Drywall, also known as New Vision Drywall. Wage theft. Why do we continue to allow? We were here last year. And so my question is San Marcos going to do the right thing for the local workforce, its first responders, and their constituents? Thank you.
Thank you. Jesse, followed by Devin, and then Natalie Martinez.
Good evening. My name is Jesse Garcia. I'm a representative with the Carpenters Union representing over 7,000 families, union carpenters here in the county of San Diego and their families as well. And also the working class that are in the dark, that are unrepresented, speaking for them as well. So we opened up this council meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. And then we did a prayer. And I just want to make a statement because we were coming here for tax fraud, and I'm still going to talk about it. But at the end of the day, you know, George mentioned about being human beings. Love conquers all, right? But workers are being cheated and exploited in the city. And I'm going to keep this family in prayer because I feel, based on the track record we have in San Marcos, they're going to be cheated. This family is going to get cheated out because we put developers first in the city. We do not put working people first. We do not put our citizens first. We talk a good talk. We talk about keeping tax dollars here in our city. We talk about supporting local small business. We do a lot of talking, but there's no action. None. None. Developers are stealing and cheating and evading taxes intentionally, and we allow it. You all are the leaders of the city. What are we doing to put a stop to it? We brought it up before, no actions, no solutions. We got to collaborate here with everyone here in this room. We got to figure out a solution. There are solutions to this problem. There are solutions to this problem. I want to make sure that the police officers here or at the sheriff here in this city are taken care of and paid right for the job they do. It's dangerous. The firefighters, our first responders, our roads, our schools, everything, our rec centers, everything. And I'm not going to subsidize by paying more taxes to criminal contractors that are evading taxes. And they know that they can do it here in the city of San Marcos. They know that there is no action going to be taken to them and held accountable. They're not going to be held accountable, and it's going to continue to happen because we are not doing nothing. I urge you guys, this is rampant. It is happening here in our very own city. We need to do something. We need to put a stop to it. Collectively, we need to put a stop to it and not sit on our hands and not deaf ears, but let's do something together. Let the city rise up and truly represent our people and our working class families that provide an honest service day in and day out and are being robbed and being stolen from and being cheated out. And contractors that are evading taxes, they're hurting a responsible contractor. And just like George said, whether they're union or non-union, if you're responsible, you pay everything that you're supposed to by CSLB, the state of California. But there are contractors in this city building our communities, and they're evading these taxes. And they know they can get away with it here. So I urge you once again, please, let's put a stop to this. Don't just let us be the voice to stand up and take action to tax fraud, but all of us here together. Thank you.
Thank you. Devin Garadella, followed by Natalie Martinez. And I did want to mention there are a few folks that did not wish to speak this evening, but wanted to offer their names in support of Villa Serena. That would be Layla and Elizabeth Santos, Betsy Cruz, Octavia Carrillo, Irene Carrillo, Annalisa Cruz, Eduardo Cajellas, and that's it. But they wanted to have their names read into the record. So next up is Devin, followed by Natalie Martinez.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. My name is Devin Gadella, and I am a graduate student in the Psychological Science program at California State University, San Marcos, studying cannabis and tobacco use and effects in youth and young adults. I want to take this opportunity to share with you an exciting upcoming community forum that will take place on May 1st from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. at the San Marcos Civic Center called Let's Talk About Youth Mental Health. This is a free family event where we will have a special discussion on youth mental health and learn about youth vaping, nicotine's effects on the brain, big tobacco's influence on youth, substance use prevention, and healthy coping skills and mental health resources. We will be enjoying delicious free tacos and playing fun games while having conversations around this topic. And we would love if you would be able to join us at our event and promote our event as well. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. If you could just leave that with the city clerk, he can give those to us. Thank you so much. Natalie Martinez.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm Natalie, and I'm part of Universidad Popular. I'm here in support of the Villa Serena residents. I'm sure you all remember me. So I just wanted to go over a few things. Just wanted to reiterate that we still have quite a big group of residents that haven't found secure housing. The last update, I believe, said that 14 are still in the process of the search, but it also mentioned that 16 are in the application process. And after discussion with residents, we know that that's not a for sure thing. Some of them have been, they don't qualify for the apartments that they're being referred to. It could be based on incorrect info, incorrectly updated info, and they may just not qualify for that. So many of us from our organization and the residents are concerned that they have not received any info regarding the hotel accommodations that are coming. I believe at the last residents meeting, it was said that they were going to conduct individual meetings with the residents to give them that and start making that plan, but that has not happened up to this point. And I think it's something that the residents have reiterated time and time again, is that though there's verbal confirmation of the hotel accommodations, nothing is concrete until they've been given a contract, and they still don't know how long they'd be left in the hotel accommodations, and I think that's something that they deserve to know, considering that they may have to do to create work accommodations, school accommodations for their families. So I also speak, I speak as a community educator, but I also have experience as a resident services representative out of low-income housing. So I did a lot of case management work, and I'm not here to say that National Corps has been doing things wrong, but after conversations with a variety of different people, I can definitely say that I would have done things differently. And so I do agree with my colleagues that spoke before me that phase 1 and 2 should definitely be learning experiences to be able to facilitate this process. And something that one of the residents had said earlier, Maria Mendoza, I believe it wasn't interpreted the way it should have, but she did mention that it's unjust that you're bringing a project that's supposed to bring good to this city, but at the same time, you're sacrificing the families that are being displaced there. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, no more public speakers. Moving on to reports. Let's see. Sandag. Both Council Member Musgrove and I were at that meeting. The last meeting, I didn't bring my agenda with me. The most notable subject was the 125, as it will be this week. We do have a meeting coming up here on the 125, and then also on the recruitment process. It's actually culminating on this Friday, the recruitment process for the new CEO. Apparently, there are some candidates that we will be interviewing to fill the position that was left by Hassan Akrada, that is temporarily being held by Colleen Clementson. So the 125, though, we found out that there were several failures that had happened. The infrastructure is not working properly. We hired a contractor that was not qualified, so there is a management response that will be coming back this Friday, explaining all of the failures, how they happened, why they happened, and there'll be policies that will be put in place so that it can never happen again. We had situations where people were being charged improperly, some that weren't being charged, and anyway, so it's been quite a long road. We also have found out that we had two vendors. One was a vendor and the other one actually was a management company. They were not doing their jobs and wasting taxpayer money that we spent to them, in my opinion, because we were paying them to do a job that they never actually did. So, or maybe they did it, but they weren't competently doing their job. So that was an issue. So anyway, that will be coming forward this Friday. Our last meeting was a special meeting. So that will be the discussion on Friday, and then again, the CEO. So hopefully we'll have some direction on who that candidate will be. We haven't yet gotten that information unless it came sometime during my meetings today. Did you have anything further to add to that, council member?
Just interestingly enough, a request was made for staff to provide a list of all contractors who have existing contracts in excess of $5 million, and the one with the highest dollar value at $13 million is the contractor who's supposed to be overseeing the 125-15 toll road program. And those are existing contracts for other ancillary contracts, but still, they were the entity we had and were paying for oversight, and it wasn't being done. It'd be interesting to see what comes of this meeting on Friday.
And I guess one other thing that I would note is that Sandag does not have the expertise to actually manage the lanes. So I think there probably will be discussions at some point in time of whether we hire someone to do that or partner with someone, but we clearly can't do it. And I know I'm going to say something shocking. Government doesn't do everything well, and sometimes we need to make good decisions so that we are not wasting people's money. So anyway, the next item is going to be the League of California Cities. Councilmember Musgrove.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Nunez and I attended the meeting yesterday along with our City Clerk, Phil Skollick. We did our report outs from the last committee meetings from last month, in which I provided that at the last council meeting. There was a pretty extensive legislative update offered by the regional director, and she was very fast in her presentation, and she said she would send that information out to us, and it's yet to be received, but when it does come in, we'll certainly share it with everyone. Two things of note that I thought were interesting. There's pending legislation that would limit local government to adjust fees and taxes once permits approved. So as a project comes in to our planning department and it comes in and it gets the initial approval, whatever fees and taxes would be assigned at that point, they are then locked in. So as the project progresses and costing and everything that comes with it, with the entitlements changes over time, we would still be locked into those original estimates, and I think that's
wow.
that is offered as an incentive to bring projects in. And kind of piggybacking on that, they talked about builder's remedy, and I think this is really it's a direct response to the city of Del Mar. Builder's remedy allows any city who does not have a compliant, thank you, housing element approved by HCD in place, that a builder can come in and effectively put a project in. And so now there's a legislation pending that allows builder's remedy. It triggers as soon as HCD rules or a court rules that governmental entity, whether it's a city, county, or district, are out of compliance. So it would effectively negate the situation that Del Mar is in right now, arguing that while they did not have one that was approved, they had one that was pending. So we'll see how that works.
All right, North County Transit District, Deputy Mayor.
We haven't met yet.
Okay. North County Dispatch.
No report at this time. We'll meet next month in May.
Okay. Clean Energy Alliance. Councilmember
Yes, we discussed our feed-in tariff program, regulatory update from our Keys and Fox, who are our attorneys that manage that for us. Received a recommendation for City Solar Plus program. We're moving forward on that program to bring in Tesla Powerwalls and solar panels in some areas, and then for those who already have solar but would like a Tesla wall, that would be something that will be moving down the road. Essentially, that clean energy would pay for it, but there would be some payback to the organization with excess energy that's provided going back into the grid out for everyone else's use, and then the owner or the host would reap the benefit of not using energy off the grid while they have the power coming in. So those will all be coming in future, and we spent quite a bit of time discussing Vista and Oceanside coming on board with clean energy. And we meet again on the 25th, so at the end of this month.
Okay.
And I just want to add that I was pleasantly surprised to see that Clean Energy Alliance had a booth at the Spring Fling Fair this past Sunday. So I was glad that they're doing that outreach and education with our residents.
Yeah, it's interesting considering that we do not have the first and second largest cities in the county within our group, but with Vista and Oceanside coming on board, we're now the 10th largest CCA in the state.
Wow.
And just a quick question on that battery program that you mentioned just last. Is that commercial or is that residential or both?
It will be residential at this point.
Wow, it's interesting.
Okay. Sorry.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Why just Tesla batteries? There's other cars.
Yeah, it's the
battery
it's the
itself.
wall, the Tesla wall.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
It's
it-
not
the
just,
actual car.
it's not proprietary to
They're
Tesla.
working with Tesla because Tesla's in an agreement
Okay.
to provide them, but there are other companies that make those batteries. They just
Okay.
refer to it
It's
as a
just
wall
the
because,
wall,
yeah.
not specific to the
Yeah,
car.
no cars
Okay.
included.
Okay.
I
Got it.
think it's because their technology on the wall is actually the best. Yeah. City Council business visits. You guys went to Infinity Communications?
Yep, that was me.
Okay.
I think we have a presentation.
There
So
you
this was actually probably a month ago, maybe 5 weeks ago. I didn't get a chance to present on this last meeting because I was absent, but I joined Tess and Amanda at Infinity Communications, and this company is located off of South Santa Fe, right on the border of Vista. In fact, I kind of thought we were in Vista, but we were definitely in San Marcos. Infinity Communications is a nationwide service company for disaster recovery efforts. Essentially what they focus on, as you can see in the photo here, is these mobile generators that they'll provide to like cell towers and stuff like that during emergencies, wildfires, earthquakes, all the good stuff that we have in California. They established their business in 2012, so they're relatively young. Their founder, his name is John Coffey, and he kind of worked in the cell tower and mobile carrier equipment services area in the southeast, or, with regards to like hurricanes and stuff like that, before he came out west, and then eventually came to California. And they have 19 locations throughout the western region now, including California, Washington, Oregon, New Mexico, Nevada, Montana, Idaho, and Texas. And the company was originally in Vista, but then came to San Marcos in May of 2023. They have about 148 employees, and Their location acts as a storage yard for the generators that you see there, and they're able to deploy them from there. And they did a tremendous amount of preparation during our one West Coast Hurricane Hillary that we were all expecting a lot from, which didn't really materialize. But nevertheless, they were prepared. And they also do things for the Burning Man crisis that took place in 2020, and they're just ready to roll. Their largest customer is T-Mobile. That's who they work with the most. That's why I can't really make out, but it does say T-Mobile on the majority of those generators there at the top. And yeah, they're a great asset in the community, as you can imagine. In a disaster, we want to keep communications flowing so people can get help and services, and they're there to help out.
Has anyone noticed, I have a little question. Has anyone noticed that your cell phone disconnects a lot now?
I don't know.
Why is that? I would have asked them that question.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if it came up, because I feel like my cell phone, well, it's not even just my cell
I
phone.
haven't noticed, unless I'm here, but my cell phone doesn't work in this room. But other than that, it's fine.
Do we have a scrambler? Just kidding.
See Eclipse.
Is that what we're going to use now? Okay. All right. I had a business visit with Councilmember Sinella. We went to Creative Electron, which I went there originally for the first time back in 2009. It's been quite a while. It was founded by Dr. Bill Cordozo. He's so interesting. Anyway, they started as a research and development company for the DoD. But anyway, he started this company, so it's essentially X-rays for everything but people. So they have 50 full-time employees now. They have over 2,000 systems installed worldwide. All of them are manufactured in the United States. And the products take a modular approach to building custom designs. So they literally have a box, and then they have like a standard X-ray, and then they also have they'll build a system for businesses that need specific little things. So they do it all there we are. That's Bill Cordozo right there in the rust-colored sweater. Anyway, it was a really interesting meeting. They're doing a lot of different things that they didn't do in the beginning, but they started out and they had a picture, a slide up, and it was like phones. And so I don't know if that's in the notes, but I thought it was really interesting. So they had like all these different pictures of the phones, and the phones were, there was a real one. These are iPhones. And then there was one that had a weight in it. And by the way, they feel basically the same weight. And then there was one that was counterfeit that had a weight in the middle. And then there was one that was counterfeit that literally turns on. It was really interesting. It actually turns on and it looks like a real phone, but it doesn't really do much of anything except for it has a screen that does a couple of little things. But, and then when you x-ray it, you can see that the differences are very different. They don't look at all the same on the inside. And apparently, I didn't realize this, but every generation of phone that Apple builds is they actually change the battery. So the battery is shaped in a different configuration so that it stops this whole counterfeit. And the counterfeit part is people will buy it on like Amazon or something like that, and then they'll return it. And so there's a lot of things where they have issues, things like that. But like the counterfeits are a big deal. And then they go into also goods. And so maybe you want to go from there, talking about all the different things that they.
Yeah, I mean, so essentially they'll x-ray almost anything that can be x-rayed. So from potentially counterfeit products to motherboards, they do a lot of electronics business with x-rays. I know that the company I work for, I think, has one of their units that we x-ray aircraft parts with. So yeah, it's pretty fascinating. But one of the other things, since we did have CSUSM in here earlier, they have a great partnership with CSUSM and and Palomar College, and they average about 2 interns every 6 months from those entities. So that's really cool that there's a collaboration between our education partners and our local business community.
And then Sorry, like, they'll have like motherboards and that sort of thing. I was just thinking you were going to talk about that, so I didn't want to say too much.
I did mention the motherboard.
Well, the motherboards, and then like it could show the tiniest little, tiny little thing that's not quite right, and then they can like figure it out. But they can do a lot at one point in time. Like they just go through pretty quickly. It's much easier. Like it used to be, like, you know, a quality control. Like they do sampling. This they could do like all of them at once.
Yeah, it's just
Sorry, I
like when
thought
you
were gonna talk about
X-ray your you know, a leg or something, if you have a compound fracture or
Right.
something along those lines, where they can see very fine lines of things that are not the way they're supposed to be. And the other thing is they infuse a lot of technology with AI, where there's a lot of these processes don't even require any human involvement. Essentially, the machines and the robotics do it all, and the human only gets involved if there's something that's identified as a problem. And so they can go through thousands of widgets, whatever it may be, without having any human involvement at all. And then the one bad widget will be brought out to the attention of the human. So that's kind of
That was the
pretty-
fascinating
that's
part I
pretty
wanted you to
efficient, yes.
say. Yeah, it was really very cool. Anyway, okay, well, so that was a very good one. That's right here in San Marcos. Oh, and they have their old building, and then they have their new building, and I think he has a third building, didn't he say? Actually,
They own a total of 4 buildings in
Oh,
San
4
Marcos.
buildings, okay. Our city manager, our
Yeah.
Creek District project. I
Yes.
got a lot of questions at the street fair, Spring Fling.
Yes, we did. So I'm going to address those right off the bat.
Okay.
Provide an update on the signals. So work on the Via Veracruz and Discovery signals are going to start taking place on Thursday. What we've determined is that the contractor's order for the parts that are missing is still backlogged. So we're actually going to take out of our inventory, loan them to the contractor, and when their inventory comes in, we're just going to backfill because we really need to get these up and running. There will also be some, so that work will continue for the next couple weeks while we resolve the issue. There's also going to be some repair work done on San Marcos Boulevard, which is tentatively planned for Friday and Saturday, so there may be some disruption on San Marcos Boulevard that drivers need to plan for this weekend. And in good news, we received a certificate of recognition from Assembly Member Brian Mainshine, recognizing the city's commitment to public infrastructure preservation and improvements to recreational amenities of the region related to this project. So kudos to our project team, and that was very nice to receive recognition.
Facilities would be the bike lanes and the park that's coming and all of those, the habitat restoration, I would think. And then all of that greenery and all the restoration is actually going to clean the water cleaner than it has been ever in its history, which is a good thing, because, you know, historically a lot of things have flowed through the creek. So it'll be good when it's all done, and it's good to be recognized for that. Any other discussion? Any council commentary? Seeing none, this meeting is adjourned.